Good morning, Fit Church. Welcome to another devotion, and I'm grateful for you guys. Obviously, with Father's Day and everything, we let yesterday be a replay, but we are back with you guys, and I'm looking at Philippians. I'm looking at Philippians chapter 3, verses 13 and 14. And the truth is, I've been reading a short devotional series it was published by Craig Groeschel. And so if you don't know who Craig Groeschel is, he's a big pastor. His church actually came up with the Bible app. And they're the church that, helped fund that and have really, just done it really well. And so there's a couple different verses that he put together here. One that I hadn't actually planned to talk about, but I'm going to go ahead and read it here, is out of James 4. And it says this: if anyone then knows the good that they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. Now, there's a couple interesting things here. First, there's a concept to sin that I think sometimes we gloss over as believers. I think it's difficult at times for us to understand and to work through what sin is, but it doesn't help when the Bible starts to allow sin to be specific to the individual. What most of us would like is we would like a list of rules, and we'd like those rules to be the same for every person, at every time, in every circumstance, so that if anyone crosses the line, it's really simple to say, no, you crossed the line, you're in trouble now, mister. But the truth is, the Bible's more nuanced than that. The Bible's a look into the lives of many different people, broken people. And what God's communicating through these different stories of different individuals that come from different backgrounds and a diverse diverse backgrounds of wealth and prosperity and struggle and people that had to overcome, rape, and people that had to overcome abandonment and had to overcome war and poverty. You're watching all of these individuals and how they react, and we're seeing God act in their lives very specifically to raise them up, to respond to the circumstances that they were in. So the idea that we know what we should do, but we don't do it, and that becomes sin, that's a hard one. Because the sin that we're committing is not a sin of us breaking a rule from God. It's the sin of us knowing God's intent for us and choosing to deviate from that intent. Even if it's not a sin otherwise, the sin that we're committing is against God Himself. Now watch how this connects to Philippians chapter 3, verses 13 and 14. It says, brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it. But one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining towards what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. forgetting what is behind, straining towards what is ahead, I press on towards the goal. I think at times we get stuck about where we've been and what we've gone through. And I recognize that depending on the circumstances that each of us have lived, even the way I just put that may have rubbed you wrong. And for that, I apologize. I don't intend to offend you. But I do intend to challenge. It's not that I believe moving on from our past is easy or simple. It's that I believe it's necessary. It's a requirement. Because we can't move forward if we constantly look back. Now, the word forgetting here, I don't know if it's meant in the intended way. I don't know if we are hearing it with its intent in mind. It's not meant to say to you that your past no longer bears any weight on your mind or has any effect on your life in any way, shape, or form. Because we can't control that. What it means is that it's no longer the single most important part of who you are. That would actually be God's role in your life. God being the single most important part of your life now. Your past can't be that if God's that. And if God is the single most important part of your life, then you're not focused on how to make the past go away, but you're actually focused on straining towards what is ahead, towards what God is calling you to, towards the goal for which He has called you. And like we said, in James, it says, if anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. It is an understanding that when God is center to our lives, that we are straining forward towards the calling that God has meant for us. And when we deviate, that's where we invite sin back into our lives. My friends, I believe that God has called each and every one of us to some extent or another to care about our health, to care about our relationships, to care about the way that we treat ourselves and the way that we allow our friends and family to treat themselves. And when we make mistakes, we're deviating from His plan. Now, I'm not suggesting this in this way because I want to shame you. Because I don't have any interest in shame, and I don't believe God has any intent for shame. I say this because I want to take my flashlight and show you where the crack is forming in our foundation. Let's stay focused on straining towards what is ahead. Let's press on towards the goal that God has called you for. Our health goals, they're not about six-pack abs and running around in bikinis on beaches, and that's... I'm not interested. I'm sure beaches are lovely with all of you right now. The truth is, I think it would be really important for us to be able to experience that beach together and experience it with the friends and family and know that we are doing everything we can to provide, doing everything we can to survive, doing everything we can to thrive with them in mind. Our health is a part of how we serve those people and how we serve each other, as well as how we serve God. So let's start. Let's keep straining towards what is ahead. God bless you guys. Pray you have a fantastic, fantastic Tuesday. We'll be back with more devotions as the week goes on, but please know we're praying for you and we're lifting all of you up. God bless you guys.